Yo, so today I'm going to be breaking down this happy angelic piano melody for someone like Iann Dior, Laroi, or maybe something off Juice WRLD's last album. Alright, so this is basically a culmination of all the other things I've shown and all the other emotional piano and guitar melodies just combined into one video and done a lot better. So I think this melody turned out really good, but the sound I started with is this LA Custom C7 studio piano. It sounds really good. It's one of my favorite pianos from Keyscape. And then here's the MIDI for this piano. Overall, it's really simple. It's in the major scale, so it's an E flat major, but I made it in C major, so I'm gonna go ahead and pitch it down just so I can explain it a little better. And I started with these root notes. There's really no explanation for that. It just takes me a lot of time to come up with like melodies in the major scale because I'm not too familiar with it. So I just clicked around until I got a bass line that I liked and then did a little repeating thing at the end just for some variation. Next, I went up and did this top line here, or like repetitive pattern. And these notes aren't actually in the pattern, they're a separate thing. But for whatever reason, I really like the way C to B sounds in the major scale. I'm pretty sure it's the 7th. For whatever reason, it just sounds really nice. Just has a nice sound to it. And then I just went ahead and came up with this super simple pattern and really played with the velocities by hand instead of doing Alt R. I did that at the end, but while I was making it, I was adjusting the velocities. And then I went ahead and added this like double hit at the beginning that I deleted before. But really it's just this repeating over, and the only variation is like this C layered with the G, and that's pretty much it. So next I went up again with that B that I like and made like half of a chord and then just have it repeating throughout the whole melody. As you can see, this is all the same stuff. And after that, still felt a little bit empty. So I went ahead and added these notes, and it's just kind of like a little mini top line that's like in the middle of everything, and it really blends everything together and just makes it sound better. And then switch it up in the second half for some variation, and then added this little part up here. And with this, I really wanted it to sound like plucky, so I did leave some of these like not stretched to each other, which I think is a really cool thing to do sometimes, because you'll make a melody and just do Control L to lengthen everything. But sometimes it's nice to leave things a little bit plucky, especially if it's like a piano or a guitar, where it can go on for a long period of time. And then again, back to the velocities, you can see here they are really super low on the velocity adjustment part. I don't really know what to call that, but it makes it sound super soft. So I'm going to go ahead and play this with the velocities like that, and then play it at like the standard velocity, and you'll see that it makes a huge difference. Yeah, and I really like the way that top line turned out. Alright, so now this is it with the velocities all normalized and at halfway, so it's still kind of soft, but there's not as much movement in the velocities. I'm only going to play like half of this. It just doesn't sound as smooth. It just overall, the velocity changes make it seem a lot better. And for the effects on that, I have reverb with the delay turned up just a little bit, and then the wet slider turned up. Tape cassette 2 with the wow and flutter turned up to 8%, and then I turned that down a little bit on the mix knob here, a cut on the lows, and then a imager. Alright, so for the next sound, I have this flamenco guitar from Omnisphere again. And it just copies some of those notes from like the repetitive pattern of the piano melody, and then the bass notes as well. But something that I did a little bit different here is, instead of having the bass notes at like a higher velocity, I have them lower, and then I pitch them up an octave and have those at a higher velocity, as you can see like there. And it just makes it a little bit more unique, because usually I would do it the opposite way. But it gives like a higher pitch almost, and overall it just sounds a lot cooler. And then again, strummed and randomized it. So it's a little bit more of like an open pattern and it sits in the background. And then for the effects on that, I routed it to mixer 1. Again, explain this in the mixing video, but 1 through 4 is like for stuff I rendered out. This is a little bit confusing because I had 2 things rendered out to here because I used 2 guitars. But for this one, I just did guitar rig 5 on the breath you hold preset and turned it halfway down. Pretty chorus default preset halfway down. A love filter with the cut knob there. And then EQ on the lows, and then an imager. And then after that is all rendered out, it sounds like this. So it's just a nice little background sound to kind of fill up space because that piano does turn out kind of quiet and soft. So this like kind of brings it all together along with the next sound, which I would consider like these 3 sounds like the base of the melody. All right, so for the next sound, another guitar double track 6 strings B. I'm pretty sure in Omnisphere, all of the B presets have less reverb, I'm pretty sure, or more reverb. I don't really know. But then this just copies the chords from the piano pattern. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Because I reversed this, so I didn't want it to be too complex and there'd be like a bunch of little reverse things. I just wanted it to be one reverse chord, and it sounded pretty cool. So this pattern sounds like this. And again, strum and velocity changes. Do that on all like the realistic type of melodies. But then on that one, same guitar rig, same chorus, same love filter, but added a phaser. I think just on the default preset, not really sure. And then instead of an imager, I added pancake on the larger preset. And then I went ahead, rendered that out, reversed it, and then chopped up the chords and reversed that so it stays in the same chord progression. And then threw some more effects on that. The main one is this ambience. It's on the Gator preset, I want to say, but it's a nice preset from ambience, and it just makes it feel a little bit more ambient. So here's what this pattern sounds like. And yeah, that just kind of emphasizes the chord change a little bit more, and then also adds a background noise too. Yeah, so like I said before, those are kind of the bass sounds of the melody, and the rest is kind of like accent sounds and top lines. So next, another one of my favorites from Keyscape, the Wing Upright Dark Indie. It sounds crazy, but I did this very simple pattern, again copying some notes from the middle repetitive section of the main piano melody. And then I just went ahead and pasted this D sharp over and over and over again. It's the root note of the melody. I don't really know why I did it, but it kind of adds some more rhythm because it's constantly hitting, gives the melody a little bit more energy. Overall, just makes it sound a little bit cooler. And then also I have that playing super duper low, and I did this kind of like sweeping thing. I don't really know if it made that big of a difference, but it sounds pretty cool. So here's this pattern. So yeah, and then I went ahead and rendered that out, and for whatever reason, when you render out the Wing Upright, literally in any type of pattern, it sounds crazy when you pitch it down an octave. And here's what that sounds like now. I just think that sounds a lot better than if it was normally like put down an octave. And then for that, I just have an EQ and I left it dry. All right, next I have a lead from Serum. It's from Sunboy's Hypnosis Bank, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's from his Hypnosis Bank, but it's the lead called Final Battle. And it just plays out this super simple pattern, just doing the root note again, and then some random notes that I thought sounded pretty cute with it. So here's what this pattern sounds like. And that just repeats over again. Super simple pattern, but it sounds really nice in the context of the whole melody. And alone, it sounds pretty cool. But again, I have ambience on that. I'm pretty sure I put it on the same preset that I put the reverse guitar on, and it sounded really cool. And then pretty much the old telephone EQ, just a little bit different. All right, so at this point in the melody, all I needed to add left was a bass, so I just grabbed the Musk bass from Serum. It works with any type of melody, very good bass, but copies the bass notes, not much to explain. Alright, so again, melody's pretty much done at this point, but there's two things I remembered I wanted to do in this melody, and they both make a large difference overall. So the first is grabbing a bell, the balcony bells from Keyscape Creative. It's my favorite like acoustic bell, and it just does this simple pattern because it doesn't really matter what pattern it does. It just has to hit right here, and I'll show you why later. But it just does notes that sound good. There's no explaining to this one, but yeah. So yeah, super simple pattern, but why I said it has to hit right there is because in the arrangement, I have that hit right there, but I have everything come out of the melody for that section. So it's like a pause and then that bell hits and then it continues the melody, which sounds really cool. And to like help that out, I put a transition effect, the whoosh one, and then ambience on the automation clip, like I always do for like emotional realistic melodies, and it just sweeps up, so it kind of gives like a rising reverse effect almost. All right, so the last sound that I thought would really make a big difference in the melody was this string from Omnisphere. Not going to try to say that, but it sounds really nice, and it just copies the piano pattern exactly. And the reason why I did this is because for an outro, once it's a full beat, I want to switch it to strings, and then just have like strings play and then the drums come back in and then it fades out. I thought that would sound really cool. And then also this for just like a background sound for like the entire melody. So yeah, it just copies the whole piano pattern, so there's really not much explaining. So yeah, it's just a really nice sounding string. And I don't think I went through the mixing on the bass, so it's just Fruity Fast Distort and then this EQ, and then on that Fruity Chorus Finisher Micro on the Infinity preset, just to give it a little bit of a sparkle to it, and then cut the lows, and then an imager to make it feel real wide. So those are all like the mixing and melodic elements of the melody. So with the arrangement, I already explained the reverb, like sweep, and then like the pause to the bell hit. And then overall, I just went in, took things in and out as I saw fit. And then also did an automation clip for the string volume, because I mixed it at a volume where it could transition from the piano being to the main sound to the string being the main sound for the outro. But I didn't want that for like actually inside the loop. So I just lowered the volume with an automation clip, and you can see right there, it comes back up to where I mixed it to. So over in the stems, it'll be the normal volume. And then, yeah, like I mentioned before, ambient sweeps in and then sweeps to make a smooth transition. And then I went ahead and found this bird ambience. It's just a really nice texture for the intro. And then that's from a Fabo one-shot kit. I have no clue where I got it, probably on Reddit, but here it is if you want to try to go find it. But then from that same kit as well, I grabbed the Russia texture, and that sounds like this. And that just plays throughout the whole melody, unlike the birds that cut off with the intro. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Then I rendered it out. Didn't do anything to the pitch or anything, but you'll notice I have two sections of it rendered out. And that's because I made this one unique by pitching it up an octave, lowering the volume, and then put some additional effects on it. So there's an old telephone EQ that's adjusted to get more mids than just highs, tape cassette, at 11%, 9% on the flutter and wobble, and then ambience just on the default preset, and then pancake on the bigger preset. So I'm pretty sure this is called double tracking, and they do it like when they record actual instruments. So there's like two waveforms, like left and right, but I didn't really do that, and I don't really know if that's the right term, but it sounds pretty cool. Just adds a little something extra to the melody. All right, yeah, so that's pretty much it for the video. I wasn't gonna put drums on it in this video, but it's simply just too hot in this room because my room is shaped like an L. So like over there my bed is, so that would be here, and then this is just like a tiny little corner, and it gets very hot because there's no AC upstairs. But hopefully I'll figure out a way to have the AC running and it not be picked up by the mic, because that would be really annoying. But yeah, hopefully that gets fixed in the future and I figure that out. But otherwise, have a fantastic rest of your day. And also, thanks for 2,000 subscribers. That's really cool. Yeah. Here's the final loop, maybe with drums if I feel like doing it tonight.